Welcome back. There are now some 73 million baby boomers in the U.S., with about 1 in 6 Americans now 65 or older. And millions will need specialized or long-term care they can't afford, or they're already struggling to shoulder what can amount to crushing debt. That's because the majority are reaching retirement age in shaky financial positions. The latest census data under the supplemental poverty measure bears this out. It shows the number of seniors living in poverty jumped from 9.5% in 2020 to just over 14% in 2022. Ramsey Alwin is the president and CEO of the National Council on Aging. Ramsey, thanks so much for being here today. This issue has a lot of moving parts. If we start with the latest census data, what does that tell us about the health, both physical and financial, of seniors today?
Well, thanks so much for having me. The latest census data is an alarm bell ringing. It tells us for the third year in a row, we've seen an increase in poverty among older adults. The fact is that so many older adults just don't have the resources they need to age with dignity. Housing and healthcare are the two biggest out-of-pocket costs, and Social Security is not keeping pace. Even with the cost of living adjustment, it's just not enough.
Why are there so many seniors unprepared for retirement? The NCOA says these concerning census numbers also point to solutions. And so what are they? I know, two-part question for you, Ramsey.
Sure. Well, so many have made the assumption over a lifetime that Social Security might be enough. Well, the reality is Social Security was intended to be braided together with private savings and employer-sponsored retirement. Yet fewer and fewer employers provide that type of retirement savings opportunity. And fewer individuals, after living paycheck to paycheck, have the resources to set aside for their own savings. So the reality is they're increasingly reliant on Social Security alone. And even with the cost of living adjustment of 3.2% starting in January, it gets outpaced by the ever-increasing healthcare costs.
There's a lot of money that goes into senior care and senior homes. All of that can really deplete families' incomes completely. What are some alternatives?
Sure. Well, families with loved ones who need care, they're in a tough spot right now. And it's very much so a middle-class issue where workers that are sandwiched between younger kids and older adults really need help and support in navigating those caregiving responsibilities. The fact of the matter is, individuals are most likely in that scenario reliant upon a spend down of their income and assets to then become eligible for Medicaid. And that's a means-tested program that really requires you to meet strict income eligibility. So there are so few options. I mean, for those that own a home, they might be able to tap into the equity to take out a reverse mortgage. If it's a safe, timely option, that can help pay for care. Some may be fortunate enough to have paid for private long-term care insurance, but that can be expensive and often screens for pre-existing conditions, and terms change as the policy matures. We believe it's time for us to look a bit more thoughtfully and holistically about the true needs of those that are aging and take a fresh look at the role of the public sector and the private sector when it comes to long-term care, because today's programs aren't working.
Ramsey, the NCOA has a few startling facts of their own. One of them that eligible older adults are leaving $30 billion in annual public benefits on the table simply because they're not enrolled in the programs. How's this possible?
Well, it's incredible, really. And that $30 billion each year in unclaimed benefits is eye-popping. It's help that can assist with food and medicine, utilities, and other basic needs. Now, for those that don't know, they can visit www.benefitscheckup.org to learn more about all those programs. There are over 2,000 federal, state, and local programs that can put hundreds, if not thousands of dollars back into the wallets of older adults or those caring for older adults. So we're on a mission to get the word out and make sure that all that are eligible are getting the benefits they deserve.
Ramsey, what would you say is the biggest single problem right now among aging Americans?
Oh, hands down, the biggest problem is that too many older adults don't have the resources they need to age well in America. And I think that's a challenge we need to grapple with as a country. So many of the programs we all rely on to age well, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and the Older Americans Act, they were designed back when we were using rotary phones. Today we're using Apple Watches. It's time to update, strengthen, and modernize the programs we all rely on to age well.
President and CEO of the National Council on Aging, Ramsey Alwin, thanks so much for talking with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Still ahead.